Commission to order at approximately 6:35. Commissioners, you received the November 5th committee minutes. Are there any changes, deletions, additions? If not, could I get a motion for approval?
I move to approve as submitted.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's moved and second for approval. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carried. Old business, it appears the old business is a special application for 1100 North 17th Street. If there's no one here for that, we'll skip that, and if they do come in, we'll go back to it. Under new business, this is a special exception application for 100 North 13th Street. It's zoned residential medium density. It's filed by Jared Neal with Hazelton Horizon Group LLC. This is to consolidate the primary parcel with vacant lots along North Linden Street and convert the property into a 12-unit multifamily dwelling with accessory off-street parking. Jeff.
Yes. The Planning Commission may recall this project from a few years ago. I think the zoning relief had come through in 2021, and then the land development plan, lot consolidation land development plan came through in March of 2022, I want to say. And the applicant at that time chose not to go forward with the project. The property was sold. And so this project is basically the same project, a little bit larger. They consolidated more of the vacant lots along Linden Street at a different parking configuration, and it also made the overall lot larger, which obviated the variance for relief from the density regulations. So that's why it's kind of the same project, but a bit of a different zoning relief requirement for it. So with that being said, the applicant is proposing to consolidate the primary parcel at 100 North 13th Street with vacant lots along North Linden Street and convert the property into a 12-unit multifamily dwelling with accessory off-street parking. Previous iteration of this proposal was initially reviewed and approved by the Planning Commission in April 2021 and March 2022, but a final plan set was never submitted to the Dauphin County Recorder of Deeds. The project site is comprised of 13 parcels totaling 0.42 acres. 12 of the lots are vacant, and the only property that features any existing development is at 100 North 13th Street, which is a 0.20 acre lot with a two-story 11,580 square foot brick structure, which was constructed in 1922. Project site is generally bounded by Calamus Street and 114 North 13th Street to the north, North 13th Street to the east, Walnut Street to the south, and Linden Street to the west. This detached brick structure is an unusual early example of the Art Deco architectural style with Spanish Mission style and Gothic revival motifs, and was known as the Center Printing Press Building, formerly the Church of God Central Publishing House, which was designed by Frank Fonestock and constructed by Shoemaker and Son. The building is currently abandoned and has been so for several decades. Character-defining features include the original brick facade, a symmetric front facade featuring decorative motifs, decorative brick designs within the facade, a prominent front entrance, a loading dock area on the Walnut Street elevation, and a parapet wall topped with concrete coping featuring geometrical design elements which are typical of the Art Deco style. The main arched entryway on North 13th Street projects out from the facade, is emphasized by buttresses and a semicircular coping design, and features simple wooden double doors beneath a boarded-up arched transom and a sign identifying it as the Central Publishing House. There is a secondary pedestrian entrance and a vehicular loading area accessed from Walnut Street. Although many of the windows are boarded up, fenestration primarily consists of casement-type windows that originally had glass panes and metal frames which were lost to rust. The windows also feature decorative flat arches and a belt course above the second-story windows. The structure is topped with a flat rubber roof. The project site also includes adjacent vacant parcels to the north and west. The industrial institutional structure is unique in a neighborhood which primarily features single-family attached row homes with scattered commercial and industrial uses. Although determined to be not eligible for listing on the National Register of Historic Places, the building is an important cultural resource for the neighborhood and contributes to the overall character of the streetscape and neighborhood. This project will allow the building to be a contributing resource once again. The Planning Bureau staff recommends the request be approved with the following conditions. If granted approval for the requested zoning relief, the applicant will subsequently file a lot consolidation and land development plan and receive approval from the Planning Commission and City Council. The applicant will submit a certificate of appropriateness application and receive approval from HARB for the proposed parking area, which is located in the Summit Terrace Architectural Conservation Overlay District. The applicant will coordinate with the Department of Public Works and Capital Regional Water to confirm the appropriate size and location of refuse collection on site, update the building accounts to reflect the new use, and ensure that the proposed site disturbance is reviewed against requisite stormwater management regulations. The Planning Bureau recommends the applicant consider installing fencing enclosing the proposed parking area in addition to the required vegetative screening to provide more security and access control, to reduce the headlight spillover from cars into the units across Linden Street, and to enhance the aesthetic impact of the project. Bureau also notes that if the required trees are not planted on site, they can be planted in tree pits in the surrounding rights-of-way. And finally, the Planning Bureau recommends the applicant install the requisite bike racks near the proposed entrance from Walnut Street. If possible, the Bureau would recommend that the applicant consider a secure indoor bike storage area near the entrance or access stairwell, since the building will not be equipped with elevators. The Planning Bureau staff recommends the request be approved for the following reasons. Subject property is a unique industrial structure which has been vacant for a few decades and has experienced significant blight over that time, as well as small lots which have been vacant for at least a decade. Any project that can productively reuse the property will provide a significant aesthetic improvement for the neighborhood. The applicant has expressed an intention to provide 12 affordable apartment units. More quality, affordable housing options are a pressing need not only in the neighborhood, but throughout the city in general, and the provision of more housing units will help to combat rising housing costs. And finally, if the conditions of approval are adopted, the project will result in the property being brought into better conformance with the zoning code and providing a more attractive development for residents of the surrounding community.
Thank you, Jeff. Could you state your names, address, and relationship to the project?
Yes, good evening, everybody. Happy New Year, and thanks for having us tonight. My name is Phil Petrina. I'm an attorney at McNeese Wallace and Nurick, 100 Pine Street. We represent the developer in this matter, Halden Horizons Group, LLC, and I'll let the developer introduce himself.
Jared Neal with Holden Horizons Group. Our address is 227 State Street.
Okay. I have one question at the beginning. Did you make contact with the neighborhood or the neighborhood group about your project?
We've met with a few of the neighboring, people that own some of the properties. We haven't met with all of them, but we have reached out to a few of them, specifically the ones across the street. We have talked with, we've had coordination with them. I think there was a few other individuals we met with unofficially as they would stop by and just ask what we were doing with the building. So we did have some interactions with them as well.
Okay, because I know isn't there, Jeff, a group called the Summit Street group out there?
The Summit Terrace Neighborhood Association.
Okay. I would say also try to get in contact with them also,
Okay, absolutely.
because I think they have a group there. Commissioners, that's my one question. I'll come back later, but if you guys have any concerns and questions, I'll start with Commissioner McKenzie. Commissioner O'Toole.
Yeah, quite often we approve a project, and then I drive by it 3 or 4 years later and say, God, nothing happened there. What happened? And this is one of them. I really liked it when it came here the first time. I thought it was a neat building. Glad to see somebody's going to finally rehab it. Jeffrey, the first proposal, it didn't involve parking, did it?
Yes, it did. It had a 12-unit lot that was only accessible from Linden Street. It was kind of like one way in and one way out. This is going to use the full length of the vacant lots along Linden Street, so it's bi-directional both off Linden Street and Calamus Street, but it's just one line of parking instead of kind of a driveway into the site with parking off either side.
All right. And does the redevelopment authority currently own the property now that it's going to be the parking?
I believe the applicant owns all the parcels at the moment.
Okay, great. Yeah, no, I think it's a great project. I look forward to seeing you do well with it.
Commissioner Reed.
I have no questions.
Commissioner Marvick.
No, I don't have any questions or concerns.
Commissioner Jordan.
Just one question. What rental rate range did you have in mind for this development?
Yeah, so throughout the process, as we were looking over the units and the layout of this, we have reached out to the Dauphin County Housing Authority. We wanted to just kind of have a general idea of what they would be looking for. Although we are not going to go forward with official, by definition, affordable housing, we are going to generally be in a right around where the vouchers will be within that range. So we're going to continue conversations with them, but we're not seeking the tax incentives that come with the affordable housing.
Gotcha. Rather than that, the only comment I have is I'm in favor of this project. I think it's a substantially sized building that's being renovated to have multi-bedroom units as opposed to what we typically have, especially in the downtown area. One bedrooms, and I'm also happy that you're going to have to do the pedestrian infrastructure around it as well.
Thank you. We're looking forward to it too.
With that, I'll go to the public. If you're for or against this project, raise your hand and state your name and address. I'll start in the center. And one person. With that, commissioners, this is pretty straightforward, and as the other commissioners stated, it's much needed to get something, that building, I've been around a little longer than Commissioner O'Toole, and that's been deserted for centuries. So I appreciate you trying to build that.
Thank you.
So with that, could I get a motion?
I make a motion to approve of the conditions suggested by staff.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and second for approval with the conditions. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carried. Good luck.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. This is the item number three, I'm sorry, is a variance for 3300 North Cameron Street, is zone institutional, filed by Michael Del Laporta with Hack to install an 8-foot-high fence to fully enclose a retention pond associated with the fire training facilities on site. Jeff?
Yep, so the applicant is proposing to install an 8-foot-high fence with a short 4-foot-high section, including a retention pond associated with the fire training facility on site, which requires zoning hearing board approval of a variance application for a fence exceeding the maximum 6 feet in height in the INS district. The project site is located on the Harrisburg Area Community College campus, a 274.13-acre parcel featuring an educational campus surrounded by surface parking lots and forested lands, with several other occupational training campuses located in the northwest of the property, including the General Motors Training Facility, the Shoemaker Public Safety Center, and the Fire Training Academy and the Fire Academy Training Grounds. The immediate vicinity surrounding the project site features the forested areas to the south and east, including a stretch of Paxton Creek and the GM Training Center to the north and west. The site also accommodates a stretch of the capital area greenbelt as well as a small spur into the training campuses. The overall property is bounded by Interstate 83 to the north, US Route 22 Cameron Street to the east, Wildwood Park Drive to the south, and Industrial Road to the west. The Planning Bureau staff recommends the request be approved with the following conditions. The applicant has not clarified in their submission why there is a 4-foot-high portion of the fence, and given the reasonable safety and liability justifications necessitating an 8-foot-high fence, the Planning Bureau recommends that the applicant install 8-foot-high fencing around the entire perimeter of the retention pond. The Planning Bureau staff recommends the request be approved for the following reasons. There is sufficient justification for the installation of a fence taller than permitted by right, given that it is intended to ensure safety and reduce liability by preventing unauthorized access to a retention pond associated with the adjacent fire training facility. Additionally, the size of the property and accommodation of training facilities create unique site conditions that support the request. There are existing stretches of 8-foot-high fences along the eastern and southern frontages of the retention pond, and thus the proposed fence will match non-conforming fences that have existed for several decades. And finally, the project location is minimally visible from the public right-of-way and will thus have a negligible impact on the surrounding built environment.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. Could you both state your name, address, and relationship to the project?
My name is Mike Delaporta.
Use the microphone.
My name is Mike Delaporta, 1 Hack Drive, Harrisburg. I am the Director of Construction and Real Estate for Harrisburg Area Community College.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kathy Brickner, and I'm the Assistant Vice President of Facilities and Real Estate for Harrisburg Area Community College.
Okay. Commissioners, I have no questions. This looks like it's pretty straightforward. And I'll start with Commissioner McKenzie.
Yeah, it's more just curiosity. Why now? That pond's been there for a while.
Sure. Hack has taken an approach to secure specifically the facility, the firefighting facility as a whole, with the traffic on Industrial Road and the Greenbelt. We fixed some fences, and we're looking to secure the pond.
Okay, just seemed,
keep
I
the
didn't,
public out.
see any new construction or anything that was expanding it, so I just wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all.
Commissioner O'Toole?
Yeah, sometimes common sense trumps the zoning code, and this is one of them, so, yeah, it's a no-brainer.
Commissioner Reed?
No questions or comments?
Commissioner Merrick?
You know, well said, Commissioner O'Toole.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, well said. I was actually surprised that this hasn't had any fencing around it, you know, given the safety factors. And then when I looked at the aerial, this is a pretty big retention pond. Do you know roughly like the size of it or the depth of it?
I believe it's over 12 feet in depth.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, that alone, and that's something I would emphasize if you have questions for zoning, you know, that alone is a major safety concern. So I have no issues. Thanks.
Commissioner Jordan?
Yes, if you could explain the desire for the 4-foot section versus
Sure.
all of it being 8.
Yeah, the 4-foot section is a request from the manager of the firefighting academy in order to utilize that section to drain their hoses down. So if the fence were built taller at that section, it would splash back on them. So they typically drain them down in parallel, so multiple teams, 5 feet apart. So they had requested that section be lowered.
Well, yeah, this variance makes sense to me both from a safety and conformance standpoint. Thank you.
Jeff, does that?
Yeah, I mean, I would wonder whether small gates or something like that may serve that capacity as well. Again, I think there's legitimate security and liability issues, and I would just think that any changing the armor of that fence might be a place where somebody could get in. So it just might be advisable to find another option, but if that's, I'm not one to second guess the staff of the fire training academy. They know what they're doing more so than I do, and if that's what they need for their operational purposes, we'd be fine with that as well.
Okay. I'll go to the public on this. Again, is there anyone in the middle or against the project? To my right? Okay. With that, commissioners, could I get a motion? As I said before, it's straightforward and pretty much, well, anyways, could I get a motion?
Motion to approve with conditions.
Is there a second?
Is that with the 8-foot fence all the way around?
I guess it's a recommendation, yeah.
Yes.
It's all the
recommendation,
8-foot
but
fence
it's
all
not
around.
required, yeah.
Do you, I put the motion out there, feel free to.
Only thing I'm saying, it's not required, so we can keep it there, but as far as I'm concerned.
What's the motion?
I just
As-
moved to
as-
approved as
As presented?
written, yeah.
Yeah, I'll second that.
I didn't really think about it.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. But
Since it's
Jeff,
just a
you're saying, even though this is a condition, he's not required to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it was certainly a recommendation in our case report, and again, it was based on, what I think was justification for the requested height variance, so I was thinking, well, if they need a fence to prevent security, to secure the premises, it makes sense to have that be all the way around. Again, if there are operational requirements from the fire training academy that, supersede those concerns, I think, I'm willing to, allow the applicant's, judgment to take over.
Okay. With that, I got the motion. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carried. Good luck. Just to let you both know that it's not really a conflict of interest for me. I'm on the Hack Foundation Board, and I spent most of the day via Zoom also. I'm quite sure you're aware that Hack is getting recruiting for a new president. Dr. Ski is leaving in June. So most of my day was spent with them selecting. We have some good candidates, so.
That's great.
Well, we thank you for your service.
Okay, thank you. And also, just about Hack's, the public safety is one of the best organizations at Hack, with the nursing program. But like I said, I will lead whatever they say, because they don't come in, whenever they come in for any projects that the board, with very few would deny them, because they only come in with what they need. They don't come in with anything they don't need, and they're pretty sharp with everything. So I'm glad to see that done now, even though it's maybe done a little late, but it's done. Then I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Item number 4, this is a variance and special exception application for 1512 State Street, residential medium density, spelled by Jarrett Neal and Hayden Horizon Group, LLC. It's to convert the existing single-family dwelling into a 3-unit multifamily dwelling. Okay.
Yes, so the applicant is proposing to convert the existing single-family dwelling into a 3-unit multifamily dwelling, which requires zoning hearing board approval of special exceptions for the proposed use and relief from the off-street parking requirements per section 7-305.7 and 7-327.6 of the zoning code respectively, and variances for relief from the density regulations and specific criteria in sections 7-307.3 and 7-309.2V of the zoning code respectively. Property at 1512 State Street is a .05 acre lot featuring a 3 1/2 story, 2,443 square foot structure, which was constructed circa 1900. Property is bounded by Miller Street to the north, the property at 1514 State Street to the east, the State Street to the south, and the property at 1510 State Street to the west. The semi-detached structure features elements of Italian Renaissance architectural style. Character-defining features include the red brick facade, a substantial front porch, the oriel windows on the first and second floors, the decorative brick elements on the third floor of the front elevation, and the prominent dormers around the third floor roof. The main entrance features a paneled wooden door set within a paneled wooden surround and topped with a simple wooden transom. It is accessed by an elevated porch featuring tongue and groove floorboards, ornate turned spindle wooden railings, and circular wooden columns, although all elements are significantly deteriorated. There is a rear entrance accessible via a small concrete landing, which features a wooden door with horizontal panels and an infilled transom, which is sheltered by a deteriorating second floor deck. Fenestration features windows in a variety of sizes, pane configurations, and settings. Most windows appear to be 1/1. The front facade features a plate glass window topped with dentils and an arched transom on the first floor, an oriel window topped with a substantial pediment featuring dentils on the second floor, and a Palladian window arrangement on the third floor set atop a decorative brick base with brownstone sill. The third floor dormer on the front elevation features divided light windows with paneled supports, a prominent pediment with wide eaves and brackets. The front of the structure is the side elevation, features a mansard roof with simpler and shallower dormers. The front of the structure is topped with steep hipped roofs, clad in asphalt shingles, and featuring wide eaves with brackets. There is a mansard roof along the side elevation, and other sections of the building feature flat rubber roofs. Although the property is significantly deteriorated, as a semi-detached structure, the building mirrors architectural features of its pair to the east, with some differentiations, such as the enclosed front porch and two-story porch on the rear elevation, and generally reflects the massing and design of other properties in the surrounding neighborhood. As such, the building contributes to the architectural character of the streetscape and neighborhood. The Planning Bureau staff recommends the request be approved with the following conditions. If granted zoning approval to move forward with the project as proposed, the applicant shall allow the Codes Bureau to perform a comprehensive inspection to identify any outstanding code violations and will receive approval for all necessary city permits prior to receiving a certificate of occupancy. The applicant must provide a detailed site plan developed by a professional demonstrating how the rear yard will be developed as off-street parking and whether any such development is in conformance with the applicable zoning regulations. And finally, the Planning Bureau recommends the applicant recreate historic and architectural features of the property, such as the oriel windows and wooden front porch elements, to ensure the property retains and enhances its contribution to the aesthetics of the block. Planning Bureau staff recommends the request be approved for the following reasons. The property has experienced extended vacancy over the past 25-plus years, resulting in significant deterioration that threatens the physical stability of the attached duplex and the overall character of streetscape. As such, there is justification for the allowance of more units than would be permitted by right. The project will reconstruct a blighting influence and attractive nuisance into new units that will contribute to the housing inventory in the city generally and the neighborhood specifically, and rehabilitate an historically and architecturally significant building, and represents a significant improvement over the potential alternatives of demolition or collapse. And finally, the project advances the purpose of the RM zoning district provided in Chapter 7-305.4C of the code, as it provides a development at medium densities that will not adversely affect the stability of the area, and advances Chapter 7-301.27 of the zoning code by protecting the residential neighborhood and providing diverse housing opportunities.
Didn't I just see you guys?
Yeah, sorry you're not rid of us yet. We had a busy end of the year to get these applications in, and McNeese actually had a third application that we were going to be here for tonight, but Jeff and I were able to discuss beforehand and remove that one from your guys' docket. So appreciate everybody's time. I know that this is a significant lift.
Just for this, for the records, just reintroduce yourselves.
Yep. Phil Petrina, McNeese, Wallace, and Nurick. We represent the developer, Holden Horizons Group, in this matter. They're the owner of 1512 State Street, and the developer is with me here tonight.
Jared Neal with Holden Horizons Group, and then 227 State Street.
Okay. Commissioners, I have nothing at this time, and I'll start with Commissioner McKenzie.
Yeah, I think the only question, I'll beat some other folks to it, is just a discussion on the waiving of the parking requirements. How do you propose to handle and provide parking for these 3 units?
So the request in the application was for a variance request to reduce, or sorry, a special exception request to reduce the parking by 2 spaces. We agree with Jeff's analysis in the Planning Bureau's report. There are 2 existing parking spaces to the rear of the property in a driveway, and we actually thought that the calculation was for 1 additional spot for the 3rd unit, but it's actually 2 for a guest spot. In that section of State Street, there is a lot of street parking, and it's not uncommon for the homes and dwelling units in that section of the city to not have access to parking. So our request was for a special exception, and we believe that we satisfied those special exception criteria for the 2-space reduction, just given its location in the city and the existing conditions of the surrounding neighborhood.
Thank you.
Commissioner O'Toole?
Yeah, was it your lawyer's idea to attach the pictures? Because that's brilliant, I mean.
I'll take credit for that since you like it, but if not, I was going to.
Seriously, you look at the pictures and say, whatever it takes to get this property rehabbed. And I don't think 3 units is too dense, so yeah, I have no problem with it.
Commissioner Reed?
No, I have no questions.
Commissioner Merritt?
Yeah, I think it goes without stating this property is in dire need of some sort of revitalization. Yeah, I mean, the cost to restore it to a single-family home is probably comparable to what it would take to make it a multifamily at this point. So, I mean, was there any indication for this house that it may have been multiple occupancy in the past? I don't know how long it's been vacant for. It's pretty run down.
Right, so when we toured it, it did feel that either it was under construction to be converted or potentially was converted at one point, so I don't know any of that, but walking through it, it absolutely looked like it was either at one point had been split, but when we bought it, it was, there wasn't much left to really tell.
Yeah. Yeah, you got a nice skylight potential
Yes,
up
we
there
do.
on the roof, it looks like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice big window on the side too. Window
Yeah, right,
opening?
right,
I don't know.
big bay window, yeah, so, yeah, I think it's somewhat justified here, you know, the exceptions that are needed, so, no questions.
Thank you.
Commissioner Jordan.
Yeah, just for fun, could you explain the picture a little bit? Like, where did this hole come from? Did you make it? Was it already there?
No, this is the wonderful condition that we bought it in.
Okay.
So we walked, my partners and I walked into here and we said, you know what, I think we can actually do something with this, with some of their background and just, you know, our familiarity with this and what we've done over the years. So, unfortunately, I think what happened was it started out with an issue with the roof, and then that led to deterioration just from the elements getting in. And then that side wall, there's the brick facade there, but there's also a window section that was wood. That started to deteriorate, collapsed, and then the previous owners put a tarp over the roof and over the side. And that's when we came in and started, you know, moving through the process.
Thank you, I was very curious how that got to be.
Yep.
The only other question I have is, if you could kind of walk me through the design as far as the different floor units, how do you enter the second and third floor units? Is it from the back?
Yep, exactly. So the first floor, you'll entrance just through the entranceway, just as it was in its initial condition. But in order to make it work and for safety, you'll enter the second and third floor through the rear of it. And then there will be a fire escape as well.
Got it. Yep. All right, that's all. Thank you.
We'll go to the public. Anyone for or against this project? Start from the middle, center, and one person on my right. No. With that, commissioners, again, it's straightforward, and thanks for putting together another disaster with that building. I guess you could make it open air, like
Yeah, natural light is a
natural
big thing these
light,
days, so.
wind, anything.
Yeah.
Open floor plan.
Could I get a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
It's moved and second for approval with the conditions. All those in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carried. Good luck.
Thank
again,
you,
guys.
everybody.
Very much.
We're out of your
Are
hair
you
now
here
for the
another one?
for the evening. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we'll certainly be back with hopefully more exciting projects for clients. So
Appreciate your time.
thanks for everybody's time.
Thank you. Okay, item number 5. This is a variance special exception application with 2140 North Second Street. It's zone residential medium density. It's filed by Stephen Toole. Is that Old Toole? Okay, I was going to say conflict of interest.
but not.
To convert the existing single-family dwelling to a 3-unit multifamily dwelling. Jeff?
Yeah, so the applicant is proposing to convert the existing single-family dwelling into a 3-unit multifamily dwelling, which requires zoning hearing but approval of special exceptions for the proposed use and relief from the off-street parking requirements per section 7-305.7 and 7-327.6 of the zoning code respectively, and a variance for relief from the density regulations in section 7-307.3 of the zoning code. Property at 2140 North Second Street is a .06 acre lot featuring a 2 1/2 story, 2,532 square foot structure, which was constructed in 1905. Property is bounded by the property at 2142 North Second Street to the north, North Second Street to the east, the property at 2138 North Second Street to the south, and the property at 2141 North Front Street to the west. The semi-detached structure features elements of prairie architectural style. Character-defining features include the red brick facade, the emphasis on horizontal lines, the deep full-width front porch, the box windows on the front and side elevations of the second floor, a wide oriel window on the second floor of the rear elevation, the 2-story porch on the rear elevation, and the prominent dormers and chimneys around the roof. The main entrance features a paneled wooden door set within a simple brick surround, topped with a divided light transom, and fronted by a full-view storm door. It is accessed by a concrete porch and steps featuring brick walls and columns. Fenestration features windows in a variety of sizes and paint configurations. Most windows appear to be 1/1 and sit atop concrete sills, although the dormers feature divided light windows, and they are set in various groupings throughout the building. The side elevation features a two-story bay window with the first floor clad in brick and the second floor clad in paneled wood. The structure is topped with steep hip roofs clad in real slate shingles and featuring wide eaves with brackets. It also features 4 large dormers on the front and side elevations, each featuring divided light windows, slate shingle-clad dormer cheeks, and hipped pediments with brackets that match the overall roof design. As half of a duplex, the building mirrors architectural features of its pair to the south, with some minor differentiations such as the railings over the front porch on the front elevation, and generally reflects the massing and design of other properties in the surrounding neighborhood. As such, the property contributes to the architectural character of the streetscape and neighborhood. The Planning Bureau staff recommends the request be denied for the following reasons. The applicant has acknowledged that the property can be utilized as a single-family dwelling and in fact has been used as such by the past 2 owners since at least 2001. The applicant has not provided evidence or demonstrated that there are unique conditions of the building or the property or building that justify the granting of a variance. And the proposed work, such as the addition, removal of walls, reconfiguration of the floor layout, expansion, addition of bathroom and kitchen facilities, and other improvements necessary for the establishment of multiple units, likely entails a significant amount of investment, which may exceed the substantial improvement threshold and thus require the property to be flood-proofed, a logistically and financially intensive process.
Yeah. Could you state your name, address, and relationship to the project?
Hi, my name's Stephen Toole. I live at 5005 Pellingham Circle in Enola, Pennsylvania, and I am the owner of the property.
Okay. As you're aware, the staff has denied your proposal. Could you state why we shouldn't deny it?
Yeah, so this is a part of town that has been part of my family since the early 80s. I was in front of your board in 2021 to get approval to convert 2134 North 2nd Street from a commercial property to a 4-unit building. At the same point in time, I bought 2138, which is the other side of 2140. 2138 is a property that has 3 units, 1 per floor. This is a property that allows for affordable housing. So like right now, I have the 3rd floor unit listed for rent for $1175. That's 1 bed, 1 bath. I have the 2nd floor unit, which is a 2 bed, 1 bath, listed for rent for $1650. So every other property on this block is a multifamily property. In addition, it backs into a commercial parking lot for the Governor's Plaza, of which I actually have a letter from the owner of the manager of the Governor's Plaza, who was actually in support of my development based on what I did with 2134. I think that the changes that I've made to that block have significantly increased the value of the surrounding properties over this, let's say, last 3-4 years. I think that there is significant parking in this part of town, because again, this is a property that abuts a commercial parking lot and a commercial, one of the largest commercial structures in that part of town, like right across the street from the governor's mansion. So, the building's actually 2,915 square feet. So this is a large building. Are we best served with having one person live in this building? Because that's what it had been doing for the prior owner's tenure since, I think, 2018. And also, with that large of a building, these are older buildings. They need constant money invested in them for all of the exterior woodwork, the roofing. The properties do not, they need to have some type of profit motive. And, what I've done with 2134 and 2138, that provides the income to keep those as Class A properties at affordable prices. I think that, I have one neighbor here who is adjacent to it. I'd love to hear what she thinks of the project. But I think this is an addition and a valuable addition to the city. And I think it provides housing when we need housing. Is it an abandoned building? No. Could someone move in there? Sure. Does that serve the, I know the current administration's been having a big focus on affordable housing. This is one thing, 30% of it is going to be by definition, affordable housing. These would be the use cases that I would say of why I think it's a good project.
Okay. Jeff, any response?
Well, I think, as noted in the case report, and as we heard in the last case, there does need to be a justification for a variance as to why the property cannot reasonably be used. In the case of the last one, it's falling apart. I'm surprised it hadn't been already demoed by the city, and there was obviously going to be a significant amount of investment that was going to be made into that property, or it was going to fall down, and there would be the loss of a housing unit as opposed to, whether we should add more. The applicant referenced that there needs to be a profit motive to do this, but there doesn't need to be one for a single-family dwelling. When I bought my house, I didn't think, well, what's my profit going to be at the end of this? It's a roof over my head. It is a place to live, and I think this is a single-family dwelling. It has been for about at least 25 years, according to what I was able to research in the county's records. So it has been operating as this. And so the question is, why can it not continue to be? If this was in the same condition as the last one, I would absolutely agree. I would say this absolutely needs, a zoning relief to be a viable property going forward. I think another consideration is that, the last project and some of the other ones we've seen recently, like on, I believe, 1932 Forester Street was one recently. We do have rear yards where they can provide parking, which I know is a concern of the Planning Commission and the Zoning Hearing Board, and oftentimes residents of a neighborhood. And in this case, we don't have the provision of off-street parking, so it's a full relief for spaces. So I think it's less a matter of whether the applicant would do a good job. I'm not debating that and converting it to multiple units. It's, does the property itself have the conditions that would justify the requested variance?
Commissioners, well, I'll go to you with your questions and concerns. Commissioner McKenzie.
I guess I understand being two halves of the same building theoretically, and there's some things happening there, and I might be able to accept it, but the parking aspect, we keep giving out free parking passes to everybody, and we're the three of us are the members of the parking authority, so we're always listening to people stop us in the street about parking. You mentioned that the adjacent property there, Governor Square, had a letter of support for you. Could that be extended into a lease for 3 spaces? I could support it if that was the case.
Yeah, so currently, the majority of that parking lot is being served for all of the tradesmen who are doing a wonderful job to renovate the governor's mansion. So they're not in a position to talk about that until that project is done. That being said, prior to that unfortunate event, that parking lot was probably utilized between 25 and 30%. So it's underutilized as is. And we also have to remember that there's roughly 400 feet of street frontage in front of that parking lot. Across the street from it, there's also commercial space with what used to be Mother Subs, as well as a small medical office. So those two sides of the street, that's like roughly at least 600 lineal feet of parking that is not being used on the regular. I spend a lot of time in that part of town. I'm there almost every day. I don't see that it's as dense as, let's say, other properties that I own in Midtown. Like, you know, if this was the 1000 block, the 1100 block, I could definitely agree with that. Here, you know, is street parking what people, like the ideal parking situation? No, but it's plentiful, as well as having that lot that being able to lease 3 spots or 4 spots, I guess, in this, which would be the being a 3-unit. That is not unreasonable because, again, that's a parking lot, especially in a work-from-home environment. I believe the city school district has a lot of that space. It's underutilized, and there would be a profit motive for that owner to entertain that lease.
I guess if there was an exhibit here that was documenting de facto your suggestions of how many spaces are there or not there during a business day and an evening, might be a little bit different, but.
Okay. I have a security camera that overlooks that lot. I can download the footage for the past year.
Well, if you can create a graphic or something that, you know, I wouldn't want to push you as far as a traffic study, although the folks, they certainly can be done. But the fact that the space across the street's been made available to governor, that project will finish.
Yes.
And so a lease could be negotiated perhaps in 12 months, which could be here now and could be part of your application that started in 2017, or 2027 rather. That would, for myself, I would feel better about that aspect of it, but that's my only comment.
Thank you.
Commissioner O'Toole?
Yes. Steve, you said you came before us a couple years ago, and you converted a single-family dwelling to a 4-unit?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
At 2134, so that's 2 doors down.
Okay, and we granted that one for you?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
That was a commercial space, so that was my mother-in-law had run the movement center, and that was one where we took, that property, I think, had a waiver for 30 parking spots, and we've reduced that waiver down to like whatever a 4-unit is.
All right. Did you do any outreach to the neighbors, in the neighborhood? You go door to door, talk to the neighbors about what your intentions were?
So I sent letters to the notification list. You know, I have one letter here that would be in favor of that. There is one neighbor who, Annette, lives directly next to the property. We can hear from her if you'd like.
All right. Yeah, and also I agree with Mr. McKisson that it'd be better if you had like a written lease or something in writing, either from the adjoining property owner or mother's sub or whatever. But I unfortunately, I think Jeffrey, you know, kind of nailed the issue. I mean, the legal standard for a variance. I mean, the property's always been operated as a single-family dwelling. You indicated that there are a number of properties on the block that are multi, but by the same token, there are, you know, most of Second Street are, you know, the same size buildings. They're single-family dwellings. So I don't think you've met the legal standard for a hardship here. So, that's the problem I would have with this application.
Commissioner Reed?
I think I need clarification on something
Sure.
from staff.
Oh,
The report indicates that the building is large enough to be converted to 2 or 3 units by right, and thus a variance is not necessary.
For the relief from the specific criteria, it's still necessary
For
for
which-
the density regulations in 7-307.3.
Oh, .3, okay.
Yeah, it's about, and that's based on the lot area of the building,
Okay.
not the size of the structure.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Commissioner Merck?
I would echo my fellow commissioners' statement, kind of just reiterating, I think for me, the difficulty is around the variance and the legal standard for meeting variance criteria. You know, out of the 5 criteria, I do see that this wouldn't really alter, you know, the character of the neighborhood. There are some multifamily dwellings, but those conversions were a completely different scenario from what's being presented here. You know, when we're converting from no longer needed commercial space, office space, providing more housing units in the city, you know, that's something different. When we're revitalizing an otherwise, you know, potentially demolished or lost housing unit and providing new housing for that reason, that's another, you know, exception, right? It's a justification. This one is tough for me to get on board with because it looks like just up until December of 2025, that was a month ago, this was functioning as a perfectly good single-family house that was lived in and operated as a single-family dwelling. So I have a hard time with, again, just meeting the justification, the variance that it can no longer function as such.
And I appreciate that. I would ask you to consider, though, to the extent that the Governor's Plaza was allowed to be constructed many moons ago, that really set the tone of what was going to happen to the surrounding area, for better or for worse, and that those were decisions that were made by other people in another time. You know, when I look around, you know, we're talking about a property that's almost 3,000 square feet, and it is like backed up against commercial space. When I look at that, you know, I take a look and I'm here like, all right, single family home, all right, are we gonna increase the tax base? Are we gonna like serve the best interest of the community by having like, you know, 2 people living there? The odds that you're gonna have like people relocating from the area, which, yeah, you know, oftentimes when we have multi-units that have been upgraded, we're bringing people in from the area, we're increasing the tax base, we're putting investment in the city, we are increasing the valuation of the neighborhood. I understand that could it be a single family? I'm not gonna deny that it could be. I'm saying that I think it would have a better use and a greater good to be converted. Just like you know, it's attached to a 3-unit. And that, like, it's a quiet, beautiful block, you know, that I think it would match and mirror what's already there. And every other residential building on that block is a multifamily. So if you are moving to the area and you're looking to buy a single-family home, do you buy one next to that's in a dense multifamily area that's backed up by a commercial like parking lot? Or do you look at other parts of town? That's a good question. I know that, you know, where I live, there's a residential zone lot that's right across from like a gas station. And once that gas station went in, that adjacent lot across, eventually that's gonna go commercial because people don't wanna live next to a gas station. And to the same extent, like if you're going to have the financial capacity to buy a 3,000 square foot house, you're not gonna buy one that's next to a huge parking lot. So whether, you know, it has a use today, I'm saying, you know, I believe we were talking, or I heard earlier, it's like, okay, does common sense trump what, you know, is written down? And here it's like, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. But I would propose that the change over to a multifamily is gonna add greater value, and it's gonna serve more people, and it's gonna serve the neighborhood better. So that's why I would ask for you to open your minds to it.
Commissioner Jordan?
I don't think I have any questions at this time.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll go to the public. If you're for or against this project, please stand, state your name and address. Could you,
Oh, sorry, you'll have to use this.
Good evening. My name is Annette McCraw. I live at 2144 North Second Street, and I'm the property owner at 2142, which is next to the property that he just purchased. My only gripe with this is the tree that sits out in front of it right now. Well, for the last 30 years, I'm the only one that cleans up after it, okay? His property is just like, it may be as wide as this table where his leaves drop. I have the only driveway on the property, so my property is like 3,100 square feet. My concern is the concrete that I have to replace every 3 years. The mold, I have vinyl windows and everything, and when you power wash, 2-3 months later, it's dirty again. I just rented to an 80-year-old tenant who drives a Mercedes, and she doesn't even park up under. She rarely parks under there, in front of her apartment. She parks by the fire hydrant on the corner. Do you know where the fire hydrant is, Mr. Toole? Yeah, she parks back there because there's been big twigs and branches that have fallen. My basement, the floors is, all cracked from the concrete is cracked, and it's from the trees. Every couple of months or so, you're calling the plumber, and when they come, they're pulling the twigs, twigs and stuff from the tree. Now, as far as the parking, I did have a concern about that, but I thought the parking in the back of the property was for those apartments. I mean, for the apartments, the one on the corner and then the other one.
Everybody parks in that lot, right?
Right, yeah, well, they do. His car's back there all the time. So that's not their parking?
That's part of the governor's lot, but
Oh,
people, like, I don't have a lease for it, but, it's nights and weekends.
oh, okay. Yeah, so I just assumed that when he turned this over to a 3-unit, that they would have parking back there. So that would be a concern for me. Like I said, my tenant, she's 80 years old. She lives there by herself, so she would be the only one parking. But like I said, she rarely parks there. She drives the Mercedes and don't want the twigs and things falling on her car. Not twigs, branches, I should say, and big ones. Let's see. That was basically it. Oh, 1029. I don't know when you took over the property. No, 1029 of 25 last year. My sister, she fell right in front of the property. Yeah, and dislocated her elbow.
So I settled on that on December 18th.
You set my sister?
No,
Oh, you settled on the property. I'm sorry. When? 1020. December 18th, okay. Yeah, so we just lost 3 people back to back. I lost a brother, a nephew, and then a brother-in-law. So, and then her husband was being operated on a serious operation, so she just didn't bother with it. But she fell, right there out in front of the property, behind the branches,
Could we stay on your gang,
Okay, well, I'm just telling you, and this was as a result of the roots. And I recently had roots removed by the trash can of my rental property, because this lady being 80 years old, don't want her to fall taking her trash out. So that's my main gripe, and I did express that with Mr. O'Toole, and that's been my gripe for the last 30 years, because the previous 2 owners didn't want to deal with it, and they didn't want to clean up the leaves.
okay.
And like I said, this year I had 21 bags of leaves.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the center for or against the project? And there's no one on that side, okay. Commissioners, do I get a motion? This commissioner always, including myself, had problems with parking in the city, especially like Second Street and so forth. So if you don't have a place to park them, like Commissioner O'Toole stated, they have a lease from like a parking lot to park. That's a problem. But anyways, commissioners, need a motion one way or the other.
I make a motion to deny based on the case report.
Is there a second? It's been moved and second for the denial. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. So I would, keep in contact with Jeff in case you do get the parking spaces and talk to him about that, so.
Just to understand, so I heard from a couple folks that it might not be good with or without the parking, and then some that maybe parking would make it be entertained, so.
Our attorney, do.
I didn't read it as so much based on the parking as that you need to meet the legal justification of what a variance means. Whether parking is part of that, maybe, maybe not, but you need to meet the standard required that justifies the board giving you the variance. That's what I heard mostly. I mean, I did hear them ask questions about the parking, but I think the underlying premise is that they're struggling with whether or not there's justifications to transfer this into another use.
Right, I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you.
Just asking, is it worth my time to resubmit
I
if I
can't
have?
answer that.
I don't
We
know.
denied it.
Okay,
Well, and,
thank you.
And I would say that it probably makes sense to go to the zoning hearing board. They will give you information about, they will say, we're denying this based on the variance criteria, or they might say, we're denying this because we don't think the parking is sufficient. So they will give you a better understanding of maybe how to approach this in the future, yeah.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Stephen, when you do it, I mean, at least twice during your presentation, you said, could an individual buy this home and use it as a family resident? And you said, yes. You lost your argument right there. I said,
Yeah.
Don't say that.
$60,000 or $80,000 in value in the past 8 years. It kind of indicates that it's not impossible to sell.
Right.
People
As a
in here,
single family.
you say, I've had this for 15 years, it was bought for 200, it resold for 10, for 1,000, 100,000.
Yeah.
And so there's other issues with the governor's mansion has to eventually go away.
Yeah.
And the change in Second Street to from one-way to two-way, although it's at the end of it there, has changed the nature of that and has encouraged, to my understanding, more family-owned as opposed to apartments. Again, it's always, the thing was a racetrack. At the end of the day, you shot up there, we, of course, spent a lot of money to try and have traffic calming. I bought one muffin because of it, but that's okay.
Yeah, I own 11 properties along North Second Street, so I'm very appreciative that it went to two-way.
Okay, thank you. Jeff, anything for other business?
Not yet. I know I was gonna get together a annual report for you guys, and that is in the works. I just didn't get it done by tonight's meeting, so I'm still working on that, and I'll hopefully have something to share with you. I think it's just gonna be kind of both a look back about what kind of cases were heard in 2025, as well as maybe some more general statistics about what the planning bureau's been managing, because you guys get stuff that's gone through a process before, and sometimes we have people come in and we say, hey, you're gonna have to do X, Y, and Z zoning relief, and they don't get, it doesn't get heard, but sometimes people make it here. And so I think that information too is important, because we've adopted some new processes and documentation over the past year, a new floodplain zoning certificate that hopefully helps give people more information at the front end of the process. And so, giving you guys all an idea of kind of, I don't know, maybe how the sausage is made almost, what we're doing in the department, I think,
is useful. So it'll have a little bit of, like I said, retrospective on last year, how many things got approved,
Right.
especially by city council or the zoning hearing board after you guys hear, and then a little bit of the statistics from the bureau itself.
Yeah, I think it's helpful. I think it came to the forefront when we were having our seminar with the council back in early fall, that one of the requirements we hadn't really been meeting
Yeah.
was providing that type of report to council. So not only valuable to us, but I think letting them know what's
Yeah.
situation is. So I appreciate you getting that done.
If I may, I would also say to Mr. Toole, the website is, because the other agendas and minutes are still up, you may want to avail yourself of other projects similar and what justifications they've used, and maybe that can help direct you in a way that, you can meet the criteria. I think it goes back 2 or 3 years up on the website at least goes back to 2024, I think.
We've just got 2025 up now because we have
Oh,
to,
we switched over.
the way we did the website that we switched in the middle
Right.
of last year, we
But
have to reconstruct
Right, if
data
you look
from.
at the other multi-family dwelling units and how they've gotten their variances, it may, spark some ideas of how you can meet the legal standard required.
Okay, before we adjourn, are these gentlemen, are you here just visiting, or?
We're part of the Halton Horizons group with the gentleman.
Oh,
Okay.
My first government meeting ever, so I wanted to
Sorry.
experience it.
Sorry, it's not that
It was a
exciting.
slow night on TV in Harrisburg. Okay.
because we never have people stay for our meeting. They're like out of
Just
here.
curiosity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Basically, I mean. Yeah, I mean, I have my own thoughts on what they're doing to the, to the property, but yeah, the state is exempt from, local regulations, so. And not to say the state doesn't coordinate with us on things that they do, and I think oftentimes they try to be a good partner, but, certainly the incident that precipitated the work they're doing there now is, was serious and, enough to have them, move forward pretty quickly with the design they've got.
Yeah, I think the main problem is when do you define historic? And 1960 is historic at this point. That's now 65 years ago. And you have the state as a small group called the Pennsylvania Historic and Museum Commission.
Right.
And this thing called a SHPO, and all kind of other things that the rest of the world lives by.
Yeah.
And has to comply with. That's where I'm starting to have a little bit of a difficulty with what I think I'm seeing behind the fencing there. Not to mention the wide open budget,
Well, that site and the property to the south is actually not in the National Historic District, and it may not be in the Municipal Historic District. And
But
my guess
it
is-
could theoretically, it could have been put on.
Sure.
It would
My-
easily meet a determination of eligibility, given the,
Yeah, my guess is
uses
it
of
was
it.
carved out sometime around when the governor's mansion was built, because they did not want to,
Comply.
adhere to those things. They wanted to make it a lot,
Right.
do what they wanted to do, kind of thing. So I think they did something similar across from the State Museum, where there's 2 blocks along 3rd Street that are not in the National Historic District, where they were going to put the federal courthouse at one point, I believe. And I think that was carved out for probably a similar reason.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, certainly, there is an impact on the project on the surrounding streetscape.
yeah.
I figured the state would do that, claim that for themselves, and locals can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Well, I know even on state projects we do, whether they're the game commission expansion or renovating and converting a armory we're doing right now into a music center for the division orchestra, we're being directed by DGS to submit and comply and go through the process that they have exempted the governor's mansion from. It just is a bit amazing because it's also DGS handling the project for the governor's mansion, but.
I do think this is an emergency, though, if the public
I had no doubt there, but hey.
I know some of that project was emergency.
Well, it was repair. I guess the more question in my mind is just, it was a failure of the fencing or the failure of not having a 20-foot gate or people who failed their jobs, who were on staff. That doesn't constitute a permanent damage to the city's streetscape on the river. It just seems like it went the wrong direction quickly without any input. But nothing we can do about it. I completely agree.
Okay. with
Wait till the
that,
fence comes down, have the unveiling.
Is there anything else for the good of the order? And
Happy New Year.
well, I'm sorry. There's a motion for adjournment.
Give it a good whack
So
there.
moved.
Second.
Go for it.